Hello, miss. My little co-star. Hello, and welcome back to Wyvern-Hearted Ink and Friends. You can call me Claymore, or Clay, and this is Missy, my little helper today, my little co-host. Today's subject is artists under capitalism. This has kind of been a slowly evolving, darker and darker part of the woods, if you know what I mean. This is not meant to scare people. I have generalized anxiety disorder, and I totally understand if, learning about this stuff is a lot for you and you don't really feel comfortable with it. That's totally fine. I'm not going to be talking about it in a scary way. I'm just going to be talking about it in a factual way, and I'm just going to give you guys clips of other people talking about it as well. But these are things that you should be aware of and things that are concerning that we need as artists. Sorry about that. That we need to do as artists to preserve our way of living. So today I'm re-recording a video I recorded last week. Last week, if you did not see, I was pretty sick. Just had a flu, cold thing, weird sinus infection stuff. It was fun. Made my voice really funny. But the whole reason that I am re-recording this is because the prior recording, the audio to it is on my parents' laptop, and my parents do not have Wi-Fi in their home. So I was not able to upload it, so I have to re-record the entire thing. And that's a bummer, but it'll be okay. Not a huge issue. We can totally re-record. Totally fine.
Penis.
Oh. Hello and welcome back to Wyvern-Hearted Ink and Friends. You can call me Claymore, and today, as you can probably tell, I am still sick. I have been sick for the past week over Thanksgiving, and that's been lovely. So my voice probably doesn't sound great right now, and we'll just have to deal with that. That's okay. So one of the big reasons that I really wanted to cover this, one of the main reasons that I wanted to cover this, is because of the whole AI art scare. And it is a problem. It is very concerning, especially when I get recommended videos that are of people making money off of AI art, which is stolen property, that is being reused and refiltered into whatever. I've also seen a ridiculous number of people doing the AI ancestry portraits, especially on TikTok. It's been a big trend, and at first I didn't really think much of it and I wasn't connecting, but after I saw how many of them were being posted and how viral it was becoming, I realized just how detrimental it is. My friends and I also got a little bit scared by a music video that we watched not too long ago. It's a beautiful music video and I totally recommend it. The artist did actually hire someone to do these portraits, but the way that they flow, I guess, in the animation style, we all thought it was AI generated, but it is not, so do not worry. I think there's still a lot of people out there who want to support artists, and I don't think that art as a form of media is going away anytime soon. It is the backbone of our society as a whole. But AI art is a scary thing to deal with. Art is already heavily undervalued, and I'll actually show you guys a clip about that here just in a second. We as artists tend to be treated as though, because our job is fun, that it is not work. And I think there's a strange number of people that don't understand how much work is involved in creating art. Not only just
to come up with your own art style and to develop your skill, but to learn all that is necessary to create good art and not just mediocre art. It takes a long time to go from when you are a kid, even in high school, still learning, still not fully retaining stuff because you're not taking it very seriously, you're just kind of going with the flow. And when you finally get out there, no one wants to value art at its proper price point.
Alright, so yesterday, around this time, I posted about a commission I got from Fortnite, which made $6 billion in revenue last year, where they asked me to draw an entire illustration for them in which they would have all the copyright to for $3,000. Unfortunately, it blew up, and this is, I believe, how much it is at right now. It hasn't even been a day. If you saw this thread already, you probably saw that some people are yelling at me for not negotiating, but I actually did negotiate. I said that if you want to buy out the rights, if you want to be able to use this image however you want, whenever you want, you have to pay me $15,000. Like, that is the minimum for a giant company like Epic Games, who is making this much money. Like, $15,000 is very reasonable. $3,000 is only okay if I can sell prints and use it however I want. And they said no, they can't do that. I am in a position where I can turn down work like this because I am in a lucky situation where I can't afford to take more work right now anyway. So this was a good problem to have, that I am able to just say no to this ridiculous budget. Some of you might think that $3,000 is more than enough to cover everything, and that I should be lucky that Fortnite is reaching out to me, which, yeah, I'm glad. But let's look at this page from the Graphic Artists Guild for Pricing and Ethical Guidelines. I believe that's the title, from 2001. You can see the TLDR is that the prices for illustrations and art hasn't risen with inflation from the last 100 years. The last sentence sums it all up, where $2,000 in 1935 can get you a house. $2,000 now, which is still the same price, will not get me a plane ticket to see my grandparents in Korea. But reminder that I did negotiate, and I said, hey, if money is an issue, LOL, just let me sell prints, like, let me have more rights. And they said no. So yeah, that sucks. I do want to say that if you are a small business or a smaller company than Epic Games, which made Fortnite, I will take $3,000. Like, $3,000 is fine if you're a small business or if you're a single person, as long as you let me sell prints. If you are a single person who just wants a drawing from me, I will let you get away with much less than $3,000. You want a drawing for your wife or your kids? Like, yeah, $3,000, that is more than enough you have to pay me, as long as you're not a $6 billion company.
So AI art is a incredibly scary thing to think about in consideration with art already being undervalued in capitalism today. I mean, you can literally ask any artist friend that you have if they've ever opened commissions to anyone. People will constantly try to ask you to lower your prices, even if your prices are reasonable or even underselling your work. People will always ask for something cheaper, and it is absolutely ridiculous. I understand that we are going through an economic crisis at the current point in time. However, that does not mean that media and art are not valuable or are not useful. Both of those things are very untrue. Art is, like I said, the backbone of society. It is how we tell stories. It is how we express things. It is everything from the design of architecture to the design of your pillowcase to an actual art piece on a wall to photography to the design of literally anything, any object in your home that is man-made had an artist looking at it, had an artist thinking about it. And I think we don't recognize art in that way. We don't think about art as being something that is everywhere all of the time. And it's incredibly sad that we as artists are undervalued. And I think AI art stresses this even more, because what I think should happen, right, is that AI art, if eventually done properly, which hopefully it will be done properly eventually, but in its current state it is stealing from artists. And it's incredibly sad, because diffusion models should not be used off of artists' work unless the artist specifically gave permission for that usage. It never should have been involved, right? Because artists should have rights to their work, even if it was just something like where you received a percentage of what people paid to use the AI system every month, every time they used something from your art pieces specifically that they paid you, right? That would be something, right? That would be at least the least that they could do. Even more so, they should offer credit to all of the artists that they stole work from to make their diffusion models. It is shameful. And I think a lot of companies are interested in it because they see the hype around it, but they don't realize how much this hurts people. This truly hurts people. It is not a victimless crime.
Someone trained an AI to copy and replicate my personal art style without my permission. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mari, and I'm a full-time illustrator and content creator. This person created a burner account on Twitter just to upload this tweet. So honestly, I'm 100% sure that they did this just to spite me, because I am usually pretty vocal about this whole AI trend thing going on. Honestly, I hate this. I didn't give permission for my work to be used for AI learning purposes. I didn't work my butt off for years to find my own references, my own style, to figure out what I like and who I am as an artist and a creator, to have a machine try to rip it off. Right now, obviously the results aren't great, but I can't help but feel uneasy about the future that this brings. How do you think you would feel if someone used your work for AI? What if they perfected it and then sold it afterwards? What if it put your very own job at risk? I'm genuinely heartbroken because
it's still raining. Why is it still raining? I did what I was supposed to. That's not fair.
With the AI art craze, I wanted to showcase some of my favorite real artists.
AI art, I believe, could be used in a proper way. Like I said, I think that if artists got like some amount of commission for it at each month, each time like their content was used to generate a new art piece, that could be at least something, right? More so if you contracted a certain artist to like develop work and put it into that, and they got like a monthly whatever allowance from it, that would at least make it feel like artists are still valued because they are still the original creators of that work. And I can see how a lot of people might see AI art as not stealing because it is taking pieces and mashing them together, which is kind of like what we talked about with developing your own art style, right? You take pieces of artists that you enjoy and you take a little bit of this and take a little bit of that and take a little bit of this and add your own twist onto it, and eventually you create your own art style. AI art is not the same because instead of just implementing the same techniques or trying to create something similar, it is taking those exact images and mashing them together like a collage. Because obviously, at least with someone who takes collages, the person who took those pictures that got posted in a magazine originally got paid by the magazine for having their art or photography used, right? This does not pay anyone. This is a free-to-use app, and people are going to use it like they did for the AI ancestry to make their own portraits, to avoid having to pay someone, a real person, to create work of them. And again, I believe that there's a way for AI art to be a good thing. It's just not in its current standpoint. It just continues to disenfranchise artists and undervalue their work and treat them as if they never created something new and original. And that's incredibly detrimental. It discourages other people from becoming artists. It discourages other people learning their own craft and honing it, because it feels like, especially for younger artists, that they won't learn as quickly as an AI will. And that's incredibly sad and disappointing. And it's not true. I think AI, like many other artists have pointed out, AI is still far behind what an actual person can create. And that's helpful. It's helpful. Like, if you see AI generated hands, they always look wrong. They always look odd and disfigured going on because the AI doesn't fully understand what it's creating. It's simply mashing things together.
I'm still better than the AI at hands, so suck on that roboposer.
Hey, so we just made this amazing tool that scrapes the internet for art and teaches itself how to generate its own art using an AI that follows written prompts that you can give it. Oh my god, that is so awesome! Us artists can use that as inspiration for posing and lighting? No. Wait, what? I don't think you get it. We don't need you anymore. But your tool used our art. Oh yes, and thank you so much, blah 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 blah, but we got what we wanted, so you're useless now. Sorry, so I starve and the market gets flooded with uncreative, soulless crap? Look at me! Look at me! I am the artist now! Oh really? How about this? No, I can't draw that. No. Oh, what happened? I thought you were an artist. I can't do it.
So in some ways, these AIs aren't as intellectual. They don't truly understand what they're creating, because the thing is that we call it AI, right? But this is not, it's not a true AI. It's not intelligent of its own volition. It has no input on the matter. It is simply taking what it is given and mashing it together, like I said. And so there is some hope in that aspect, that at least it is not up to par with real artists. You could pay a real artist to make something for you that is personalized and exactly how you want it, whereas an AI takes a couple of words and it tries to come up with what it can for those words, but it will never give you exactly what you want. And I think that's a good contender in the sense of artists can still make money. Artists still have a place, at least with the current standing of things. Artists still have a lot to give and a lot more to offer than an AI does. That being said, there are AIs being developed to create animations, to create videos, to basically take out an artist's vision at all, right? because people don't want to pay for an artist. One of the things that I wanted to talk about with artists under capitalism specifically is that artists are also experiencing this widespread greed from companies that they pay to be able to create stuff. So, for example, for one that everyone can understand, Adobe Photoshop is incredibly expensive. It's always been expensive, but in the past, you were able to buy Photoshop outright. You were able to buy a copy of Photoshop for, I think, between $400 and $800, depending on when you bought it and what version you bought. But currently that is no longer an option. You have to subscribe to a monthly fee to be able to use a program that helps artists be able to make an income, right? And it wouldn't be that big of a deal if it wasn't so expensive. Because you have to think that not every artist who is subscribing to this is going to be making money off of the art they create with it. It is something that people are just going to have to try because they want to use it. And it's very discouraging, especially for younger artists who don't have the money or access to a lot of those things necessarily. As a very poor artist who doesn't really make a lot of money off of my art currently, I can say that I pay for the cheapest subscription for an art program that I have found, which is Clip Studio Paint, and that's about $5 a month. And that's reasonable for me. But even for me, having to buy a tablet to be able to use the program is so expensive that I have been waiting 6 months to buy a tablet. And I am still barely able to afford it with all my other bills. And I'm super excited to be able to unbox that soon, to be able to show you guys what I got, to be able to use something that is truly a proper version of what I need. That's going to be so exciting. But it is extremely discouraging that you have to own all these products and all these subscriptions to be able to create anything. And then to have your stuff stolen either by said companies or by the companies that you posted your work to, the social media that you posted it to, it is being stolen off of. And this is not a new concept. Pieces can be stolen off of social media very easily. Pieces can be stolen off of even like listings for where you're selling your artwork. People will steal the picture of your product and then recreate their own and then sell that for even more money than you're asking for. And they didn't even create the original art piece. And, Pinterest is a big one where people tend to steal art and use it for things and never credit artists or never pay them or never whatever. Pretty much every social media where art is posted, it is likely to be stolen.
Clip Studio Paint is once again ruffling feathers within the artist community with their latest announcement, which cites that the upcoming version will include the Image Generator palette, an experimental AI feature based on the Stable Diffusion model. The accompanying video of this announcement shows this tool in practice, using sourceless photography and artwork from uncredited artists to cut corners in an attempt to streamline and enhance user experience. Although Clip Studio Paint claims that no user data will be submitted to train the model, they acknowledge that the the images generated will infringe on artists' rights and places the onus on users to use their best legal and moral judgment to ensure that their work does not infringe on the rights of others while using this feature. AI image generators like Stable Diffusion work by obscuring and recommissioning existing artwork and photography without the consent of creators. Millions of images are pulled from online libraries such as Pinterest, DeviantArt, Tumblr, and Fine Art America, which are appropriated without permission and compensation, and many artists like myself are absolutely besides themselves, knowing that Clip Studio Paint, a program integral to their art process, is enabling and engaging in such a shady practice. Clip Studio are fully aware of these concerns and say that they are engaging in an open dialogue with users to best determine how generative AI can coexist within the creative process. But that coexistence is not compatible with a community whose work and livelihood is placed at risk because of these generators. And with this announcement coming off of the back of DeviantArt's StreamUp image generator, which at first automatically opted in and authorized AI generators to use hosted artwork in their datasets, it's becoming harder and harder to feel validated and protected as artists within our own spaces. Clip Studio Paint has provided an update on the image generator palette, which they had announced earlier in the week. The generator palette, an experimental AI generator based on the Stable Diffusion model, was cited by Clip Studio to become a powerful assistance tool for all creators, despite acknowledging that it will lead to morally and legally ambiguous projects. They could not guarantee that the images generated with this feature would not infringe on the rights of others, but regardless, we're keen on providing this tool with the next update, version 1.13. That is no longer the case. On December 2nd, Clip Studio has announced that the image generator palette will no longer be implemented after listening to the feedback and concern from their users. These were their reasons for the generator's withdrawal. They acknowledged that AI image generators in their current model exploit artists' intellectual property. They recognize that it's ethically unacceptable for datasets like Stable Diffusion to use artists' work without the opportunity to opt out. They fear that Clip Studio Paint, a art software frontrunner, would become synonymous with AI generator work. They are aware that there are other features that they need to prioritize, features which would help artists in their creative activities as opposed to hindering them. And finally, Clip Studio believe that they should be an application which takes responsibility and provides the art community with a safe environment which fosters creativity. Clip Studio Paint has apologized for the anxiety caused and has listened to the concerns of their users, and I am personally delighted. AI generation is exciting for a lot of people, but in its current form it is ethically and morally at odds with artists. In the future we might reach a point where these datasets can be implemented in a way that does not infringe on artists' rights, but we're not there yet.
And that is not a new concept for any artists out there, but it is still incredibly frustrating that more and more of society is just wanting to steal the work instead of paying for it, because we are so desperate for media and none of us have money to pay for it anymore. And it's a vicious cycle that creates itself. Several different companies have decided to add to this greed toll, right? Specifically, Pantone has started making it so that when people look for color matches for their color, they no longer can get that for free. That is something that they now have to pay for. And if you don't know what Pantone is, I'll let this video explain because I'm not the best at explaining it.
Pantone, this is the most gatekeepery shit I've seen in a long time. I have to now pay to access hex information when you and like Adobe haven't like dealt with like your shit, so now I can't even find like a swatch I professionally need. You want me to pay more to get that information. I love people having proprietary creative shit, but like I'm a professional
and I have access to tools to get this, and I can't get this without getting other approval from people above me to spend the money to find that information. That is so fucked up, Pantone. I just cannot believe you're doing this. How are others supposed to thrive when you're thwarting people who do this? This sucks. This sucks.
And in the newest episode of Late Stage Capitalism, they are putting colors behind a paywall. From November, Pantone is putting 15,000 colors behind a paywall. One designer tweeted that the file has Pantone colors that have been removed and replaced with black due to changes in Pantone's licensing with Adobe. So yeah, even if it's 20 years old, it will remove the color and make it black. If you want to continue having colors in your designs in Adobe, you will have to cough up $59.99 per user per year.
But just in general, every place that you look in, more artists are being disenfranchised. We saw animators walk out, we saw video game artists walk out, we saw so many people over the pandemic stop because their work is worth so much more than what they're offered, than what they're given, and it is going to continue to be a problem until we can reach an agreeable point. And this may end in something like the Writers Guild, but for artists in general. If you don't know what a Writers Guild is, there are Writers Guilds in different parts of America and I believe in other countries. Essentially, they make it so that there is a base pay for all writers, and they have written, documented base pay portions, so you can know whether or not you should accept a job or what job is acceptable. You pay to be a part of this group, you pay into it, but they protect you and your writing rights due to you being part of it. I don't know if there's currently a artist guild of a similar merit. If there is, I will probably show it to you guys. Or, you know, if there are more minor ones that you guys know of, please let other people know in the comments, let me know in the comments. But generally, if we had a guild like this, it would help us to maintain... Ma'am, why are you attacking my toes? Sorry. It would help us come up with a base pay for every type of art industry that there is, and it would help us fight for the right to be paid that amount. There may be artist guilds that are separated into more distinctions, but I think in general there should be an artist guild for every type of artist, and a more generalized guild to help artists stay above water. All of this being said, I think there are ways that artists can contribute to the help of other artists. I think that there are ways that we can work together and maintain our ownership and our rights. There's absolutely value to art, whether you are doing it currently or you previously did it, or you're interested in becoming an artist. Your art is worth something. Your creation is worth something. So please do not give up on the idea of becoming an artist just because AI art is an issue currently. Know that there are people working towards stopping it, and that hopefully more companies will come to their senses soon. Anyways, I'm gonna bounce because my cats are clearly in need of attention and whatever else, so I will talk to you guys very soon. Please stay safe out there and avoid the anxiety troll. So I will be unboxing my tablet in the next video, hopefully. So, very exciting.